Hello, everyone, and okay, 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Welcome everyone back to the Great Ace Attorney 2 live streams. I am CS Nazo, and in this part we shall be going to the first trial for defending one Dr. Hairbrain. Sorry, it took me a little while. I got caught up watching the Some Kind of Johnny video. 23rd of October, 8:52 a.m. The Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. I can't believe it's been 6 months since I was last allowed to work in court. And now here I am, back at the Old Bailey. Ah! Mr. Naruhodo! I don't remember the voice I gave this guy. Good morning, Professor Hairbrain. I don't understand! It doesn't make any sense! The atmospheric pressure in here is off the charts! I've never felt anything like it! It's crushing me! I feel it every time I'm here. That gravity. Wow, this is Britain's highest court. But are you telling me it's fitted with some kind of device that can that can actually control air pressure? I think it's probably all in the mind. Ah, yes. Well, you won't let me down, will you, Mr. Naruhodo? I'm counting on you in today's trial to save my life. To save the secrets of my super high voltage entertainment kinesis machine from being made public? Yes, I understand. I know what I have to do. I have to establish that the explosion 2 days ago was nothing more than an unfortunate accident. Well, I'm sure there's nothing to worry about, really. Justice will prevail. My commiserations, Mr. Naruhodo. You appear to have been lumbered with a most tiresome case here. Mr. Sholmes, I didn't expect to see you here. That was very mean, Runo. Leaving me alone at home with Hurley. It took me at least an hour to wake him. Are you Sherlock Sholmes? Indeed, sir. I am he, Sherlock Sholmes. Oh, I've heard all about your exploits, even whilst living in Germany. Ah, yes, Rance magazine is on sale in Germany, too. This month's installment was sublime. Your deduction in the Adventure of Silver Blades was wonderful. Ah, yes, a memorable case indeed. It concerned a snake, I seem to recall. No, that was the Speckled Band. Well, thank you for coming. I do appreciate your support. I'm sorry to disappoint you, my dear fellow, but I'm afraid I can't stay. Oh? I have urgent business at Madame Tuspel's. You mean your waxwork job? No, the waxwork abduction, of course. Madame has engaged my services. Ah, so you're trying to get to the bottom of that ransom note, are you? The week's wages depend on it, as does the safe return of the waxwork, naturally. As such, I intend to give my undivided attention. Oh, well, never mind then. I understand. Of course, with my skills of observation and reasoning, resolving the matter will be as easy as proverbial pie. I shall return forthwith. For until I solve the case, I shall have no money to afford a pie of any description. Oh, then you must absolutely give it your full attention, Hurley. Quite, Iris, quite. My life is riddled with irony, you know. Whenever I give something my full attention, I have a quite insatiable desire for a pie. One of the universe's intractable mysteries, you might say. Oh yes, quite, definitely, absolutely, I totally understand. I think I just gave him Soseki's voice. Is someone a little starstruck? I wish you the very best of luck, Professor Hairbrain. It's Professor Hairbrain, not Doctor. Got it. Why, thank you. All right, Mr. Naruhodo. A word in your ear, if you please. What's this about? Music's going down. As you have remarkably little grounding in science, I feel I ought to inform you. As compelling as this super high voltage instantaneous kinesis hypothesis may be, a practical implementation such as was attempted by the professor at the Great Exhibition is quite impossible. But the professor said the demonstration was a success. Yes, it would appear that he fervently believed it was. I've read Professor Bunnybrain's paper about it too, Runo, and I have to say, I'm sure it can't be done. It could barely be done theoretically, let alone practically. So he's completely barking up the wrong tree? But how could an experiment that had no possibility of succeeding, in fact succeed? That's contradictory. And it's that contradiction that will be at the heart of the trial, I've no doubt. What's that supposed to mean? Now, I must hurry along. I wish you the best of luck, my dear fellow. See you later, Hurley. Well, it looks like you're on your own today, Runo, but chin up, you can do it. Oh, what about you, Iris? No, I'm afraid I can't help. I have something I need to do. I see. It's going to be a big surprise for you when you find out what it is. That sounds ominous. Counsel for the defense and the defendant. Court is about to be in session. Make your way into the courtroom at once. We're on our way. Excuse me. An experiment that the laws of science say can't possibly succeed. And a scientist who's convinced that it did. That's the riddle you have to unlock here, Inosuke. That's the key to this case. October, 9:10 a.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are sitting today for the public trial of Professor Albert Harebrain. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and the defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready, my lord. I'm 6 months out of practice, and what's more, I'm without Susato-san today. Is it just my imagination, or does the air in here feel even more oppressive than usual? So, I must say I recollect the victim of this case all too well, Mr. Odie Asman. Mr. Asman was well known as a financier, though that was merely a front for his diverse criminal activities. It was only a month ago that the man appeared in court prosecuted by you, Lord Van Zieks. But the jury unanimously found him not guilty. Because every member of the jury had been bribed by the sound of it. These powerful London criminals are prepared to go to extreme lengths to keep their freedom. But 2 days ago, on the 21st of October, Mr. Asman met his end. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce his name, but whatever. The work of the Reaper, was it? If that's how your lordship would describe divine retribution. But the fact remains that Mr. Asman's death was a direct result of the actions of the accused, Professor Harebrain. Very well then. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have been selected at random to represent the will of the people. Are the 6 of you ready to fulfill your societal duty? I'm most gratified to be selected to carry out this important civic duty, my lord. To have a man's fate in the palm of one's hands, oh gosh, oh golly, it sends shivers down my spine. Science experiments, magic, conjuring tricks, courtroom trials, all are nothing more than performances. Any spurious scholar that defiles the reputation of science deserves to hang. You have to listen to what's said on both sides of the fence, and, then settle on one. That's it, isn't it? this in my day! Wasn't like this at all! I'm not gonna remember their voices. I'm just not. I'm sorry. The police killer Ottermole look-alike. Again. And he's as exhausted as ever, it seems. Now, as I'm sure you're all aware, the incident we are here to judge today tragically took place at the Great Exhibition shortly after its opening. Though the death toll could have been far worse, with the exception of the victim, no one was killed. Nevertheless, the dream of the science being exhibited rapidly turned into a nightmare for the spectators. A tragic turn of events, and as such, the eyes of all London, no, of the whole world will be on this trial. It is our duty to reach a swift and just conclusion, I feel. So, your opening statement, please, Lord Van Zieks. At the heart of this incident is the technology never before demonstrated anywhere in the world. One of science's latest developments, I take it? The government is keen to capitalize on the Great Exhibition to improve Britain's technological advantage. The technology being demonstrated by the accused was described as super high voltage instantaneous kinesis. Good lord! It's designed to disassemble human subjects using extremely high voltage electricity and beam them instantly to another location where they are subsequently reassembled. Is such a thing even within the realms of possibility? Well, I don't believe it, that's for sure. Disassembling people with electricity? My goodness, how shocking! The whole idea is absurd. The hypothesis would never stand up to scrutiny. Sir, I believe you are a fellow of the Royal Society, are you not? An expert in your field? I am, and my word on the matter can be considered final. Instantaneous kinesis is poppycock. So this expert and Mr. Sholmes are in agreement. It's impossible. What is the prosecution's view on the matter? The prosecution would assert that the accused instantaneous kinesis demonstration was a success. What? What? Order! Order! The professor's hypothesis is currently under investigation by the British government. If it is deemed to have merit, a substantial research grant would be made available. The accused made use of the invention built on his new hypothesis to take Mr. Osmond's life, in order to be the sole benefactor of the grant. But... This disastrous demonstration was no accident. It was carefully designed from the outset to end the life of the victim. Thank you, Lord Van Zieks. The prosecution's stance is clear. But you will now bring forth witnesses to substantiate your claims. Gladly, my lord. Bailiff, show the first witnesses to the stand. So, Professor Harebrain and Gregson, okay? Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court. Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard's Homicide Division. I was on duty at the demonstration on the day in question, in charge of following the investigation. Albert Harebrain, scientist! You were born in England, but have been carrying out research in Germany in recent years, correct? Yes, that's right! After graduating from university here in Britain, I went to work in Germany and made an amazing discovery! Which is what brought me back. I had to demonstrate my incredible hypothesis at the Great Exhibition! What you demonstrated was incredible, alright? An incredible explosion! But the science was a success! The instantaneous kinesis worked! Everyone saw it! They must have done! Yes, there was that terrible accident, but the demonstration of my hypothesis was a success! Well, that much is undeniable. I showed this photograph taken by the forensic investigation team. So it's like I said, the explosion just launched him into the tower. This was taken inside the Crystal Tower, I take it. I'm sorry. This was taken inside the Crystal Tower, I take it. The centerpiece of the exhibition, no less. That's right, my lord. It seems the victim ran straight into it. It almost looks like he was shot. I see. Very well. Submit the photograph as evidence. The photograph of the victim has been entered into the court record. As the court heard, I'm sorry. As the court heard, the victim of the incident was Mr. Odie Asman. There have been a number of allegations made against the man, but putting them aside for the time being, he was the man who financed research for the experiment and the demonstration itself. I see. So to summarize the situation, the defendant is accused of taking the life of the man who funded his work. Would that be correct? Exactly. But couldn't it be that the explosion was caused by some malfunction in the apparatus used for the demonstration? That's right! That must be it! My splendid machine! My poor, splendid machine! You saw it yesterday, didn't you? We can't even examine the records thanks to the special Suspension for Scientific Equipment Act. What? The wreckage? The wreckage? With that being the case, how can the facts be established? How can it possibly be determined whether this was an accident or a deliberate and malicious act? Extremely simple, my lord. I beg your pardon? Isn't that right, witness? What? Sorry? Me? No, your neighbor. Yes, sir. It was murder. Plain and simple. Anyone can say, I'm sorry. Anyone can say with complete certainty. God, I just can't talk today. What? How can he possibly think that? Thank you, Inspector. I think we had better proceed to the formal testimony. You will explain to the court on what grounds you claim this experiment to have been a front for murder. A front for murder? The corpse that went crashing through the Crystal Tower had a broken neck. Explosion! This is a fucking explosion! I made a minor miscalculation in the angle of the beam projection, that's all. That was my mistake. But the post-mortem examination revealed another injury, a fatal wound. There was a lesion in his chest where he'd clearly been stabbed by something sharp right in the heart. So the victim was killed before he went anywhere, and this fella's the only one who could have done it. An extraordinary business. Very sorry. In addition to suffering a broken neck, the victim was stabbed in the heart? Information I would really like to have heard from someone other than the judge. The coroner says that would have been all but innocent from a wound like that. You could say, in fact, that the victim was killed twice by the accused. One small thing I discovered in the week since the last stream. From what I found online, his last name is pronounced Zeeks, from what I understand. I've heard some streamers call it Sykes. That could also be correct. I'm not going to deny that. What I did was I just googled Zeeks and found a website. I believe it's called howtopronounce.com, and that was the pronunciation Zeeks is what it gave me. I'm not sure if that's correct, but that's what it gave me. And also, all the links to all the times it's been used have been from Great Ace Attorney specifically. So, yeah, there's that. No! I'm sorry. That couldn't be farther from the truth! I have here the experiment plan document that was submitted to the security team. I'm sorry for all the yawning. The victim saw himself inside something called the bird cage, ready to be beaten instantly. So the second level of the Crystal Tower, about 25 yards away. The experiment did not go according to plan, however. As the machine was put into operation, there was a large explosion. The blast caused the beam transmitter to point higher than intended. Accordingly, the kinesis resulted in the birdcage materializing in midair, from where it subsequently fell, crashing through the glass of the Crystal Tower's large round window. My word! One assumes the victim's neck was broken upon impact with the tower then. I'm so sorry! I didn't mean for this to happen! The machine was just too powerful! But honestly, really, I swear, it was just an accident! A terrible accident! Unfortunately, that excuse can't save you. No, not considering the sharp murder weapon that appears the victim taught. Murder weapon? What are you saying? This is the autopsy report submitted by the coroner. The prosecution would like it entered into the court record. Your request is granted, counsel. The autopsy report has been entered into the court record. I was there in person, you know. I saw the whole ludicrous performance. Checking court record. For what? Oh wait, we don't actually have. We have the experiment sketch, but we don't have the actual plans. We have this photo here too. Please tell me this isn't going to wind up being a 3D object later. Please, for the love of God, tell me it's not going to be a 3D object later. Around 2:20 p.m., hemorrhage of a wound to the chest that pierced the heart, inflicted by a sharp implement. Additional observations: a broken vertebrae, most likely resulting from impact after a sudden fall from considerable height. The only other person on the stage with Mr. Osmond was that disgraceful excuse for a scientist. Then really, by all accounts, it must have been him. Hard to think otherwise, really. Very well, counsel for the defense. Proceed with a cross-examination, please. Oh, yes, my lord. I need to focus here. It's been a while. Cross-examination. Affront for murder. Press everything! Because I have no idea what... Hold on. I actually just had... I'm going to take another look at court record. Oh, wait, yeah, there is this crossbow. Just where he'd clearly been stabbed by something sharp right in the heart. I'm not going to present the crossbow because I just get the feeling, oh, you don't have enough to go on there. Hold it! Are you suggesting that's because he fell from a considerable height? Exactly! Which highlights something else about this whole run business. What's that? The fact that the instantaneous kinesis itself was a success. Ah! After the explosion, the cage with the fellow inside suddenly appeared out of nowhere in midair. So although the experiment ended in disaster, the so-called instantaneous kinesis did actually occur. Remind us, Professor, what was the cause of the fatal disaster? Minor miscalculation in the angle of the beam projection. That's all. That was my mistake. Hold it! So the angle of projection is critical, is it? And you calculated it yourself, personally? Absolutely! I'm sorry. Absolutely! The calculation is far too complicated for anyone but me to carry out! Oh, no, you got it wrong, didn't you? Yes! That's right! That's the point! The calculation is so complicated, even I can make a mistake! Do people fall for that brazen confidence? I should try it. I took it into account the subject's height and weight, the wind direction, the ambient temperature. I considered every possible variable, so I just don't understand how this could have happened! Obviously, then, you had to include the weight of, the clothes Mr. Aspen was wearing at the time, I suppose? Ha! Crackling Comets! The answer should have been 3! So much for safety first. 3 must be for, 3 must be for safety third. Postmortem examination revealed another injury, a fatal wound. Hold it! Another fatal... oh, God, what the hell? Another fatal injury, you say? That doesn't make any sense. I didn't think I'd have to spell this out, but here we go. Just because there were 2 fatal stab wounds doesn't mean I'm saying the victim had 2 lives to lose, does it? 2 right. Obviously, at first, we thought the bloke had died due to his spine snapping in half as well. But you're saying that's not the case? You okay? Your answer was I finished my fish and chips. If you don't keep butting in every few seconds. But we all know that's a bottomless bag. That is very true. The victim plummeted 30 feet into a glass tower. It would be reasonable to assume that as the cause of death. Right, that's what we all thought, but it was a red herring, wasn't it? There was a lesion in his chest where he'd clearly been stabbed by something sharp right in the heart. Hold it! The defense knew nothing of this crucial information. The prosecution received this report from the forensic investigation team only this morning. That was the first we knew of it as well. I can only apologize for the impossibility of informing the defense. Sarcastic and insincere? Thanks. So, what was the nature of this sharp object? Among the accused tools that were in use at the demonstration, one is of particular interest. This. Oh yes, that would appear to be some kind of a screwdriver, wouldn't it? Cause there he is! My trusty little companion, Andrew! Andrew, of course. Do you know each other already? He's one of my dear friends, like all my tools. I've named them all, you know. We're all one big happy family. Well, intelligence and insanity are 2 sides of the same coin. Andrew is my flathead screwdriver, of course. His brother Michael is a crosshead. Well, it would appear that your beloved Andrew has a red stain on his shank. Wait, what? That isn't... It's blood, beyond all reasonable doubt. No! But that's not all. The long, sharp shape of this Andrew fellow is completely consistent with the victim's wound. What? What?! Order! Order! The court will enter this friend of the defendant as evidence. Screwdriver has been entered into the court record. So one of Professor Harebrain's tools is a murder weapon? Great. Let me take a look at that screwdriver. Examine. That's definitely blood. This is blood. Mr. Aspen's, no doubt. This is the problem with looking at murder weapons. Anything else to... Oh, wait, we got... So is he just going to comment on the shape? I've seen this unusually shaped handle before. It's the same screwdriver that was lodged in the grill of the floor of the kinesis machine, which could be important information, so I should definitely make a note of it. Why would it not already be in the freaking... Why would it not already be there? We already knew this! Why would it not already be in the... Oh! Why would it not already... Why would it not already have... Why would it... I don't understand. Why would that not have already been in the description? Oh, this is fucking stupid. What grounds do you have for saying that? Huh! I'm sorry. Do you really need to ask? There were only 2 people on that public experimentation stage in front of the whole crowd. The victim, Mr. Odie Asman, and the accused, Professor Hairbrain. And we know for certain that before the experiment, the victim was alive. That's right! I saw him with my own eyes! Furthermore, following the explosion and kinesis, nobody went anywhere near the body. In other words, only someone else on stage with the victim could possibly have done it. He got something.
Excuse me!
Professor Hairbrain, do you have some information that may be relevant here? Professor! Ah! Sorry! I was just calculating the optimum coefficient of I'm usually good at following this. The optimum coefficient of electrolysis to separate molecules in the human body. Well, I'm good at, like, pronouncing science mumbo-jumbo. And the witness stand is the best place for that. It seems as though you might have something to say about Inspector Gregson's last remark. Yes, that's right, of course. He just said that nobody else could have done it, didn't he? Yeah, that's right. Who else could have stopped the victim? I don't know, but there's no way that I could possibly have stabbed Mr. Asman, you say? I'm sorry, I think I read that wrong. There's no way I could possibly have stabbed Mr. Asman, as you say. Explain, please, Professor. Of course, this cold-hearted policeman may not be aware, I suppose. But humans are warm-blooded mammals with blood running continuously through their veins. I had heard. Then surely you see, if I plunged something the size of Andrew into the man's chest, the whole stage would have been a bloodbath. No, a blood swimming pool. But thousands of Londoners were watching me at the time. And yet not one of them claims to have seen a swimming pool of blood. Well, no, I suppose not. You see? Not one! True, I didn't see anything like that. Well done, Professor. That was a great counter-argument. Order! Order! Pray forgive the discourtesy if I savor a drop of my hallowed chest to accompany my old friend's deucing. Here's to you, Albert. Oh, you're too kind, Barrack. I'm very sorry, but I'm really not a patch on you. No, you're not. No? You've neglected to mention one crucial possibility. I have? A particular situation in which very little bleeding would result from a stab wound. Ah, of course! Inspector, enlighten the court, please. Yes, sir? Where are they going with this? Very well, you will amend your formal testimony now, Inspector Gregson. The weapon the victim was stabbed with must have been left in his body whilst he was beamed through the air. Well, hold on. I still find it fucking stupid that I have to examine the evidence in order to establish something that we already fucking know. Like, I mean, it's not even like, I'm like, oh, well, it's a good guess to assume, it's safe to assume that. No, we literally found this in the grill. Why did I have to examine this to have that in the fucking court record? It's beyond stupid.
Objection!
You say that while the weapon remains in the body, there's very little bleeding. Is that unequivocal? Look, there was no blood at the experimentation stage, even though that's where the fellow was stabbed. The only explanation for that is that the screwdriver was still in the body, stopping any heavy bleeding. It's common medical knowledge, my learned friend, even on your side of the world. Yes, but about this screwdriver. The thing is, we actually saw it at the scene ourselves, on the experimentation stage. What? It was on the floor by the wreckage of the machine, poking through a metal grill. When I went to pick it up, but the defective... defective? Well, I mean, debatable. But the detective here stopped me. Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson? Now you come to mention it, yes. Inspector, are we to understand that you permitted the defense counsel to investigate? That you, contravened the special contravened the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act? No, not at all. I wouldn't do that. I just let him look, nothing more. I was very clear he wasn't to touch anything. Yes, that's true. This screwdriver was in plain sight, on the stage. But it shouldn't have been, should it? What are you getting at? If this tool had still been in the victim's body when the victim was beamed away by the machine, then it shouldn't have still been on the stage. That's right. It should have been beamed across to the Crystal Tower along with Mr. Athman. And been found still lodged in the victim's chest. Order! Order! How do you explain this, Inspector? I don't. It looked as though everything that the victim had on his person moved with him when he was beamed. If the screwdriver was still in his chest when the instantaneous kinesis occurred, obviously that should have been beamed to the destination as well. This is a strange situation. Even though people are saying that this instantaneous kinesis is a scientific impossibility, we're still basing arguments on the assumption that it did actually take place. Alright, time to tighten the screws here. I see what you did there. My lord, if the prosecution is unable to explain this inconsistency in its argument, we can only conclude that the testimony given in support cannot be relied upon. Lord Van Zieks is stumped. What? That was a shrill one. I didn't appreciate that one since I'm wearing headphones. Do you have something to say, witness? Yes, I knew it. It bears out. The equation is old. Mr. Naruhodo, don't worry. About what? Without delving into the details, there is no inconsistency. What? Even if Andrew had been lodged in Mr. Asman's chest, my trusting tool wouldn't have moved. Andrew remaining on the stage is consistent with my calculations. What? What? Well, so much for that, dude. Thank you, Professor. Thank you so much. You're very smart. It would seem your illusions have been shattered. Clearly, we should hear the accused's explanation. Or should I say, this brilliant scientist's explanation? Just when I'd found an inconsistency in the prosecution's argument. Scientists. Very well, the defendant will testify again. Provide us with a scientific explanation as to why the inconsistency asserted by the defense fails to hold. In the name of Apollo, I will, my lord! Justice? I played that game. I'm in the process of, I stopped playing Dual Destiny to focus on this. I'll probably get back to that when I'm done with this stream. And unfortunately, I won't be able to stream it because it's a 3DS game. And I have no means of capturing that at the moment. To be clear, I'm still at the stage of gathering data in my research. My hypothesis states that the kinesis cannot transport metal, though. Hence, the metal weapon would have stayed put. Wait a minute, hold on. Okay, no, that does hold. Seeing as these straps are made of, the buckles on this strap are made of wood. Are these also wood? I'm going to assume they are. Wait a minute, hold on. What the fuck is this? And what's this? I mean, okay, that we can chalk up to being whatever the fuck buns are made out of. I want to say plastic. But this is gold, which is metal. That I know it's gold, not metal, but still, if he's not going to specify what kind of metal, then I have to assume it's all metals. He would have to specify something like steel or iron or something. In other words, the point just raised by Mr. Naruhodo isn't inconsistency at all. Mr. Asman was the patron of my research. Without him, my work wouldn't have been possible. Now I have a duty to protect the incredible machine that we built together. Thank you. So, the thrust of your testimony, Professor, is that based upon its hypothesis, metal objects cannot be moved by this method of instantaneous kinesis. In other words, since the screwdriver is made of metal, even if it remained lodged in the victim's chest, the subsequent discovery on the stage, despite the victim being found elsewhere, is not an inconsistency. Something tells me my gold argument isn't going to hold up. And therefore, Professor Albert Harebrain could still have been the killer. My great hypothesis holds, you see! Stop smiling! We had to make the cage used to contain the subject from wood for that very reason. I was not addressing you, witness. Professor Harebrain? Yes? Whose side are you on here? I don't take sides, Mr. Naruhodo. No. My only interest lies in upholding my hypothesis. I'm a scientist, after all. Is he working for us or against us? It's very hard to tell. Let's see how you cross-examine this testimony, my Nipponi's friend. Yes, fire away, Mr. Naruhodo. Inconsistency explained. I'm gonna press everything because I have a sneaking suspicion my gold argument isn't gonna hold up. Either that or his glasses are made of. Either that or these part of his glasses are made of plastic or something. Although why would he have this? I don't know. Hold it! And yet your retort to my argument wasn't lacking in confidence in any way. No scientist can find the truth without first finding self-belief. Those were the words of a certain scientist. I hold them in the very highest esteem. But you realize that disproving my argument puts you in a very precarious position, don't you? No scientist should strive to protect himself more than he strives to protect the truth. More words of the same great scientist, you know? Words that are causing me a lot of trouble. Who is the scientist? I'm afraid I couldn't tell you, Mr. Naruhodo. But as soon as I remember the magnificent genius's name, you'll be the first to know! It might be worth keeping the names of your idols to mind. You're wasting your breath, my learned friend. This scatterbrain even forgets my name at times. So Lord Van Zieks really did have a friend once, but I didn't notice hell freezing over. Okay, that was a nice line. I like that. My hypothesis states that kinesis cannot transport metal, though. Hence, the metal weapon would have stayed put. Hold it! Your hypothesis states it? So this isn't proven, then? No, of course not. It's merely a hypothesis, but a good one, based upon thousands of calculations. This is widely known that metals cannot be decomposed by electrolysis. I'm sorry, let me try that one again. Electrolysis. Yes, of course. So I am right. I'm sorry. Let me try that again. So I am right. My hypothesis is clearly correct! What is it about incriminating himself that makes this man so happy? It's the whole reason why the birdcage is made of wood, you see? Sorry, the birdcage? Yes, that's what I call the C obtusa cage, which Mr. Aspen was placed for the kinesis. Ah, the jail cell in which the victim was detained. It does indeed seem to be made of timber of some sort. I'll thank you not to refer to it as an instrument of incarceration, your lordship. In short, any weapon lodged in the victim would when he was beamed away by instantaneous kinesis would have been left behind on the stage if it was made of metal, correct? Yes, that's it! Yes, yes, yes! It all fits perfectly with the mathematical model! But the ultimate conclusion, then, is that the defendant alone had the opportunity to inflict this fatal injury on the victim, is it not? Ah! Oh, indeed, sir. Someone beam me out of this nightmare. In other words, the point just raised by Mr. Naruhodo isn't an inconsistency at all. Hold it! You seem to be pleased by that. Yes! Another example of my hypothesis holding true! But I sense some sarcasm, Mr. Naruhodo. Are you not pleased? No. I knew it. At the end of the day, I'm the one responsible for Mr. Aspen losing his life. The intelligence of science is no excuse, I know that! No, you're quite right. Tell the court, did you have a close relationship with Mr. Aspen? Oh, well no, not really. I mean, I'd only met him 2 or 3 times. And we only ever discussed my hypothesis in the project, and the research grant, of course. Mr. Aspen was a patron of my research. Without him, my work wouldn't have been possible. Hold it! How did you come to know Mr. Aspen in the first place? Huh? A year ago now, a small professional science journal published a little paper about my work. That's a scientific journal? Good gracious! I should need new spectacles. I might have an extraordinary hypothesis and a great promise, but at the time I had no money. I had to eat tiny little meals at a tiny little cafe and drink watered down water out of a tiny little glass? What? But Mr. Aspen read the paper and came to visit me at my tiny little laboratory. And offered you money to help fund your work? Exactly! That's exactly what happened! I handled the theoretical side of things, and Mr. Aspen provided me with an engineer for the practical. And the 3 of us produced that fantastic machine together! The machine that you brought to the Great Exhibition to demonstrate. We had to apply to the government for some sort of inspection to be allowed to exhibit, I think. I didn't understand all that side of things, and Mr. Aspen took care of all of it. He was a wonderful man, really. I owe him everything. Now I have the duty to protect the incredible machine that we built together. Hold it! When you say that you built the machine together, does that mean you were involved in its construction? Yes! Well, not exactly. I'm not good with the practical side of machines myself, so the physical construction was done by an engineer. Little remains of your creation now, though, following the explosion. Repair will no doubt be impossible. Yes, I realize that, but still! If someone were to gather all the broken parts, they could discover the secret of my hypothesis. But Mr. Aspen and I toiled over that machine for so long, we put our hearts and souls into it. I had to protect our work. So what's left of the machine must be kept safe. That's only fair, because what happened was an accident. That's the extent of the testimony, then. Thank goodness for that. I don't want him doing any more damage. He's already basically proven that he could have been the culprit. But it seems as though all he really cares about is defending his hypothesis. Still, I wonder, what if the hypothesis is just fundamentally flawed? So, maybe my idea is right? I'm gonna save, because I still have this nagging feeling that my my thought about the gold on his glasses doesn't hold up. I'm gonna take another look and see if there's something else. Something else made of metal that I haven't noticed. Alright, here comes my theory. I don't think it's gonna work, but okay. No, it's working, okay. Professor Harebrain, you say that according to your hypothesis, nothing made of metal can be beamed by instantaneous kinesis using the machine you made. Is that right? Yes, that's right! Spot on! Exactly correct! In that case, I'd ask you to have a look at this photograph that was taken at the scene. In particular, I'd like you to pay attention to the victim's face. You can clearly see that Mr. Asmund is wearing a pair of spectacles with a metal rim. What? Metal? No! Metal can't... That's not... metal? No! We've already established that the proposed murder weapon, the screwdriver, was found on the stage. However, if your hypothesis correctly predicted that outcome, it should also have predicted that the metal rimmed spectacles would be found in the same place. Ah! My hypothesis! My hypothesis! Professor Harebrain, this isn't easy for me to say, but your hypothesis is clearly flawed. Ah! Order! 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 Council, what is the implication of this? If on the day in question, the alleged instantaneous kinesis never actually took place, then it's entirely possible that the victim was killed somewhere other than on the stage. And in that case, someone other than the defendant could have been the culprit. But my hypothesis is sound! I proved it that day! The experiment was a success! The experiment was proof of all my work! If I could say something here, in my capacity as a fellow of the Royal Society... Yes, sir, number 4, go ahead. As a man of science, there's one thing I simply cannot abide. And that's a fraud who pretends to be a fellow man of science! What? Wait! Great Scott! Are you suggesting my science is suspect? It's just been disproved, hasn't it? In front of all of us? Well, not the science, just the idea that metal can be transported. In other words, the whole demonstration was a complete nonsense from start to finish. Believe me, my fellow jurors, when I tell you that this man is a heel, a bounder, and a fraud. I say the records of that machine should be stripped down and thoroughly examined. No! Never! That machine is the essence of my entire hypothesis! It's protected by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act! What the devil is that blasted act all about, eh? Who made up such a daft rule? I don't like the way this seems to be going. What's the best way for me to help the professor? Raise an objection?
Objection!
Professor Harebrain has yet to perfect his invention. That would seem to be the case, yes. But even so what? Going to such trouble and expense to create a fake machine to display in public, he would have had absolutely no reason to do such a thing.
Objection!
The research grant. He had an obvious reason to do exactly that. For the research grant money. Ah! If the government was foolish enough to have deemed this man's ridiculous notion plausible, he and his conspirators would have received a handsome sum indeed. Conspirators? And what would be the value of such a grant? 10 pounds? You're an order of magnitude out, madam. 500 pounds a year. Oh, you could live a I'm sorry. You could live I'm sorry, I'm trying to get the voice right. You can live a handsome on that for years. God, I have no idea how to talk. The societies have noticed an increase in bogus public demonstrations in the field of science. And plenty of scientists arguing with each other to get the largest slice of the funding cake. people's greed is plenty motive enough for murder, I assure you. No! I haven't deceived anyone! Least of all the government! My hypothesis is sound! The science is sound! Please, you must believe me! He was just... I mean...
Objection!
See, here's the thing. It worked. Apparently, well, I mean, we're probably going to prove this. I'm probably going to wind up being wrong later. As I said, my original theory is that... my original theory was that it was an explosion that just sent him flying. But... right now we're working on the idea that it did in fact work. He was beamed. He was just wrong about it being unable to transport metal. That's it. That was the only thing he was wrong about. And that shouldn't mean anything. No matter how unbelievable this hypothesis may seem to you, ladies and gentlemen, the fact remains that the victim was transported instantly to the Crystal Tower. Thank you, Barrick. Thank you, Barrick Van Zieks. Which means that the experiment was a success. Barrick! And therefore, the only person who could possibly have committed this murder is the accused. Barrick. Where is this heading? I have no idea. My lord, if I may? Yes, Lord Van Zieks? The prosecution would like to summon new witnesses to the stand. New witnesses? What would be the nature of their involvement? They were spectators of the demonstration at the exhibition, who were occupying special seats. Eyewitnesses? Very well, the court grants the prosecution's request. I should very much like to hear from eyewitnesses to the incident. Okay, so it's been a week since I saw the original animation, but I don't recall seeing him going anywhere near Asmon while all the explosions and stuff was happening. I could be wrong. I could be very wrong about that. It's been a week and I could be remembering it wrong. The prosecution's stance is clear. The experiment was no pastiche. The accused killed the financier victim there on the public stage before the very eyes of the spectators. Now, my learned friend. Oh, yes? It's time for you to make your own stance clear. There's clearly a flaw in the professor's hypothesis. I can definitely see that. But where does that leave me? We shall take a short recess now, during which time the prosecution will prepare its new witnesses to take the stand. As you wish, my lord. Good. In that case, court is adjourned for 20 minutes. Is this going to be a to be continued? That is a to be continued an hour in. Halfway through what I like to do for the minimum. And I'm not entirely sure this next one will be less than an hour. So, I'm going to flip this coin. This Raikou coin. If it lands on heads, we continue. We continue for today. If it lands on tails, we end it here. Shit. Heads. Alright. We're gonna keep going. October 23rd, 10:44 a.m. The Old Bailey Defense Antechamber. Mr. Naruhodo! What on earth were you playing at just now? Or rather... what on earth were you playing at all along? My hypothesis! My amazing hypothesis! You've been picking holes in it from the start! Sorry about that. But you promised me! You said you'd prove that Dryden explosion was an accident, not murder! You said you'd keep my precious invention from falling into anyone else's hands! But all you've done so far is try to undermine me! I think it should be the other way around. Yes, I did make you a promise. You're right. I said that I said that I believed in you and fight for your freedom to the very end. But I also told you I was no scientist. I don't understand your hypothesis. The fact is, there's an undeniable flaw in your logic, isn't there? Ah, but if I just run through some equations, yes, you see, it's because my work is incomplete. Perhaps it is. Nevertheless, a man died as a consequence, didn't he? Oh! Oh no! You're right. You're so right. It's all my fault. And I have no right to blame you for my failures. I'm a disaster, not just as a scientist, but as a human being! Well, that might be a little over the top. And while we're on the subject... Well, what about Barrick? He's being awful! Claiming his old university friend to be a murderer, you mean? Oh, I'm sorry, I got that wrong. Claiming his old university friend to be a murderer, I mean? He's a disaster! Not just as a prosecutor, but as a human being! Oh, but no, wait! He's a raper, isn't he? Perhaps he's not classified as Homo sapiens anymore? Glad that's cleared up. Can I double check something with you? Oh, I'm sorry, that was Ryunosuke. Can I double check something with you? Ah, yes! What? The machine demonstration you prepared. They were based entirely upon your hypothesis, I presume? There was no trickery involved? I drew the plans for the machine with my very own hands. Every line was painstakingly drawn with a firm belief that science is the only future. So yes, it's true that my hypothesis hasn't reached maturity yet, but please, Mr. Naruhodo, you must believe in it. Alright, Professor, I understand. Counsel, defendant. The prosecution's witnesses are ready to take the stand. Court is about to be in session again. Make your way into the courtroom, please. It all hinges on that demonstration. If the professor's hypothesis is as sound as he claims, it leaves him as the only person who could possibly have killed the victim. But on the other hand, Mr. Sholmes was adamant. A practical implementation, such as was attempted by the professor at the Great Exhibition, is quite impossible. I think I slipped into Barrick there. I'm just trying to do the Sholmes. We're not going to see Sholmes again, but it's in my head now. My logic and reasoning spectacular. There, I got the voice back. So really, what should I be trying to prove here? "23rd of October, 11 a.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby reconvene the proceedings of this court. Counsels for the defense and prosecution, are you ready for the new witnesses to testify? The prosecution is ready, my lord. As is the defense, my lord. So, Lord Van Zieks, I believe these next witnesses saw the demonstration on the day in question with their own eyes? Indeed they did. And as luck would have it, one of them is a police detective. So the testimony we're about to hear can be considered highly reliable. Is it Gina? Perfect, a detective of all people. The prosecution's stance remains unchanged. Though it ended in tragedy, the demonstration on the day in question was scientifically sound. And consequently, the sole person with the opportunity to have committed this act of murder is the only other individual to have been present on the stage at the time, the accused. Thank you, counsel. The prosecution's position is clear. So, bring forth your witnesses now. Bailiff, show the witnesses in. The witnesses whose proximity to the incident on the day in question will clarify the truth unequivocally. Yeah, I thought it was Gina. Good to see her back. My throat's starting to hurt. I'm gonna go get a drink of something. Might not be water. I'm back.
Witnesses, state your name and occupations for the court to hear.
My name is Balthazar Loon. I am the impresario of all the hot air balloons in vicinity of the experimento stage.
My name is Wilhelm Gottfried Sigismund Ormstein. I have come to see the great exhibition all the way from my home in Bohemia.
Oh, Bohemia! If you played Apollo Justice, I think it was Apollo Justice. Was it Apollo Justice? I don't know. It's been a couple years since I played Apollo Justice, actually, but I'm pretty sure Bohemia played a role, and I want to say it was the third case of Apollo Justice.
I'm very rich.
Inspector Gino Lestrade, Scotland Yard. I'm a great detective. Even Airlock Sholm agrees. I was on security duty at the time, and I got to go up in one of them balloons. It was amazing. I think I lost Gina's voice a little bit there. Gina, again. But she did mention that she'd seen the disaster from up in a balloon, actually, didn't she? And she clearly loved every minute of it.
There were 3 balloons flying near the public experimentation stage when the incident occurred. 2 of these witnesses were in one such balloon at the time and saw events unfold from the skies above.
You make it sound like they were in the clouds. It was only an altitude of circa 60 feet, very low. Well, you can't say nothing if you ain't, if you fly too high, can you? Did I say C? Should it be C? Yeah, it was C. 60 feet, about 18 meters then. Thank you for your introductions. Now, you will give your formal testimony for the court. Kindly describe exactly what you witnessed, especially those of you who had a vantage point above the stage. It was an incident terrible. I'm very sorry. I am only grateful that my balloons were not damaged. There's this huge bang from the stage. and then the next second, another bang in the sky beside us.
And from amidst this smoke, a cage appeared out of nowhere.
The cage, it fell from the sky like a stone and crashed into the crystal tower. I didn't get a good look inside the cage, but no one went near it after it crashed into the tower. A most extraordinary collective account, I must say. Can I just clarify something? There's a detail in the witness's testimony that I've not heard any mention of until now. Specifically, that there were 2 explosions?
More precisely, 2 explosions in 2 separate places. 1 second.
I'm back.
When the demonstration began, the balloon carrying the 2 witnesses was around here. There were other balloons in the area nearby at the time, carrying other passengers as well, to be clear. Then, as power was applied to the machine for the demonstration, the first explosion occurred. The so-called birdcage that contained the victim disappeared from the stage, and a moment later, the second explosion occurred directly adjacent to the balloon carrying the witnesses. The birdcage appeared at the site of the explosion, subsequently to plummet down to the Crystal Tower. Okay, I thought one of the hot air balloons exploded, but no. So there was another explosion, and then it fell to the Crystal Tower at an angle, which is weird. Almost as if it was just the explosion that just caused it to fucking. Okay. I was very surprised. Suddenly a cage appeared before my eyes with a person inside. The blast was so hot, but I didn't want to miss a thing, so I kept my eyes wide. I still have lots of money.
Precisely, who is this curious infant?
I'm told he is a young noble of Bohemian royalty. Apparently, he disguised himself in order to steal unnoticed into the Great Exhibition.
Ja, I am here in London on a sightseeing trip, visit my elementary school.
We will have the benefit of a child's point of view in the testimony.
Do we really need that?
Then I removed my I'm sorry, I did the Varric voice again.
Then I removed my mask. This is what I look like.
Oh yes, I see. A delightful face, I'm sure.
Ja, everybody says so.
Great disguise, then. The point is, the testimony of these witnesses further substantiates the facts for the court. Namely, that despite ending in an explosion, instantaneous kinesis was successfully demonstrated. And furthermore, excuse me, that till the arrival of the police, no one approached the Crystal Tower where the victim fell. Therefore, only the accused, who was with Mr. Asman on the stage, could possibly have committed the murder.
Yes, thank you, counsel. The prosecution's views on the matter are quite clear. So, the defense's cross-examination now, please.
Yes, my lord.
Hold it!
There were 3 balloons flying above the experimentation stage at the time, I understand. See, I'm sorry. All of them, my Bellissimi Bambini. They are very popular, Signor. Some people will pay £10 for one ride. £10? That's more than my annual stipend.
£20 a month. That is my pocket money.
Where else have all the luck?
I got up there for free, I did. They the all that work for a Majesty police card, you know.
Detectives has all the luck.
If they're so popular, why would you only be operating such a small number of balloons, though?
Because if I have too many in the skies, they could crash into each other. The operators for the balloons were decided by lots, with each operator manning a particular area.
See, and the zone above the public experimentation stage is the most profitable.
The other impresarios, they hate me.
Thank you, witness. I think the court has a clear picture of the arrangements for balloon rides at the exhibit. Perhaps we can hear more about what you actually witnessed of the incident.
Right, I can fill you in there, my lord. There's this huge bang from the stage, and then next second, another bang in the sky beside us.
Oh, wrong one. Oh, la, 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 la.
I keep doing that.
Hold it!
So you actually saw the accident from up in the air? Yep. Ain't an amazing what a detective gets to do, eh? I'm telling you, Odo, being a lawyer's a mug's game. You should join the force and we can go flying together. You know me so well. Yes, well, anyway, could you tell us exactly what you saw, do you think? Everything! We saw everything! Because we were up above it all! That dodgy code climbed in that cage and that dodgy professor pulled all them levers? And that's when it happened! That's when there was a massive bang and the cage disappeared just like that! So he was nowhere near the birdcage, is what you're saying. You are describing the moment of the subject's body was decomposed by the electricity, I believe. I didn't know what to make of it. But then there was another bang right in the air. I looked around and there was a huge red fireball right next to us in the sky. There was nothing there before.
Excuse me.
Master Gotts, does your memory of the day differ? My teacher at elementary school said that when you meet someone for the first time, you should always use your full name. Ah, yes, what was it again? Well, I'm not doing that. Just 4 names then? The point is, do you have something to say? Something to add in response to Detective Gino Lestrade's last remark, perhaps? Oh, get it right, Odo! It's Inspector Lestrade. Lestrade. It's not Lestrade, it's Lestrade. That is one thing from the other Greatest Attorney streams I've been watching that I need to get right. It is Lestrade. Why does everyone have a problem with how I address them at the moment? That is not what I saw. Oh? Ja, there was a second explosion. It was right beside our balloons. That is true. But I'm sure, which is why I say, one moment there was nothing there. The massive, the next a massive explosion. My teacher at elementary school says that when someone else is speaking, if you are rude enough to interrupt, you will have the most awful life imaginable. Are all Bohemians brought up to be so full of joy? Just before the second explosion happened next to our balloon, I clearly witnessed a green balloon flying in the sky. A green balloon? And you what? I never saw nothing like that. Well, I did! I saw it! And you can't say I didn't! I will complain to the council! I will cry and scream! My testimony is the truth! I am Bohemian Prince! You cannot say it's a lie! That is not allowed! Playing the bleeding royalty card, are you? Typical. Says the orphan who likes to remind people that she works for Her Majesty's police.
In that case, young man, I must ask you to amend your formal testimony. In the interest of cordial national relations between Great Britain and Bohemia.
It was not the sky that exploded. It was a green balloon that was next to us at the time.
Hold it!
A green balloon, you say? Are you sure about that? Of course I am. I am proud Bohemian Prince. All these questions are making me boring.
I think you mean bored.
English is very annoying. The language of my countrymen is far superior.
Ragazzo, it is very wrong to lie.
Lie?
Flying balloons never explode. For the same reason the planets never explode.
back. Please tell me that doesn't mean logical. If you insult me, you insult all of Bohemia. Madame!
I will have the army come and shoot all of your stupid balloons out of the sky! All of them!
Here you are, Your Highness.
If only all international incidents were so easily resolved. Now that peaceful relations have been restored here in the courtroom, perhaps we could return to the testimony. Oh god, I'm about to cough again. Did you also see the moment that
the cage materialized, Mr. Loon?
No, I did not see the explosion myself, however.
I'm not attempting an accent. I think it's supposed to be, Spanish, based on the fact that he's, based on the CC, but I could be completely wrong.
The cage, it fell from the sky like a stone and crashed into the Crystal Tower.
Hold it! Did you see that actually happen?
No, in reality, I did not. I saw it after it hit the tower. There was a grand confusion around the stage. I ran to see what had happened. I was terrorized by the idea that one of my balloons had crashed.
I suppose they are his livelihood.
But when I looked up to the sky, all my precious balloons were still there.
I saw it though! I saw it slam into the tower! After all, I'm a detective now! Then tell us what you saw, Inspector Lestrade. That's what I like to hear!
I could look inside the cage, but no one went near it after it crashed into the tower.
Hold it! Was it you who gave the order to keep people away? Eh? Use your head, Odo. How could it have been me? I was up in a balloon, wasn't I? Right. So cause I weren't available, it was the boss who had to leg it over there. He was getting shoved and kicked all over by the panicking spectators as he tried to seal off the scene. It was a real sight to behold, I can tell you. Amazing! Poor Inspector Gregson. So anyway, I couldn't see the cage that will cause of all the smoke. I didn't really want to see, to be honest. I was scared out of me wits. Keep it together, Inspector. The prosecution really is asserting that the demonstration was genuine. But what if it was actually some kind of switch-around trick instead? That would mean that the victim was never actually on the stage in the first place. The two explosions would have thrown everyone watching into a panic for sure. I think I need to find out more about what exactly people saw at the time. Well, I pressed everything, so at this point I need to press. It was a green balloon that was next to ours at the time. I think I do know what he's... Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm gonna make a save. Wait, I already did that. I'm an idiot.
Objection!
Wait, what? Well, that's why I saved. Let me try something else. I get the feeling that this was what we were supposed to do. At the time, and this is it right here. This is piece of the balloon. Maybe something else. Maybe it was something from before? Maybe it's here?
Objection!
There we go, okay. Mr. Loon, in your testimony, you said that all 3 of the balloons you had operating at the time were undamaged. See, that is correct. If they had been caught in the explosions, it would have been terrible. I wonder if you might know what this is. I think it may be... See, part of a balloon. A burnt piece of the fabric of the envelope. Sorry, the envelope? Pardon. That is the large round part of the balloon which becomes filled with hot air. It is made from very thick fabric lined with rubber. You do not want it to rip when you are in the sky. Just as I thought. This piece of cloth was found near the experimentation stage. In other words, as Mr. Gotts testified, a green balloon did indeed explode that day. If all the balloons in the sky above the experimentation stage belong to you, Mr. Loon, then your statement that they were all undamaged clearly contradicts the evidence. No! If a balloon exploded that day, why didn't the man say so? Maybe everyone on board was killed. Oh no, having just spent 10 whole pounds for the experience? How awful. Seems to me like those things crash 50% of the time anyway. If the instantaneous kinesis did occur, but after the explosion on... And so let me try that again. The instantaneous kinesis did occur, but after the explosion on stage, the point of the materialization shifted to a location occupied by a balloon.
Causing the balloon to explode? Yes, eminently plausible.
An unfortunate traffic accident, as it were, but it changes nothing about the pertinent facts. Oh! This I cannot accept! Why not, Mr. Loon? Are you suggesting that I am a liar? That person's died in a balloon incidente? There's no need to get fired up, Mr. Loon. The victim was assault with fatality that day. That's right, and I prove it! Balthazar Loon is not a liar! There was no such balloon in the sky! It is not possible! You're saying it's impossible? Why? This court has more important matters to discuss than the number of balloons that were operating that day. Aye!
Objection!
But we can't ignore the fact that nobody appears to have known anything about this other balloon until now. My lord, the defense calls for further testimony from Mr. Loon.
I concur. There is clearly more to the truth here than meets the eye. It's imperative that we clear up the issue of this phantom balloon, I feel. Witness, you will give supplementary testimony about the balloons you were operating at the exhibition.
Ah, grazie, my lord. Mr. Loon's balloons. As I said, Balthazar Loon is no liar. Every balloon I had in the sky landed safely. All 3 of my balloons were carrying passengers. If they fell to the ground in an explosion, what a catastrophe! But you can't get away with the fact that a burnt up bit of cloth was found at the scene, can ya? The coppers at the yard reckoned it was probably some debris thrown from the explosion on the stage. This stupid ragazzo is mistaken! My balloons have the red and blue zigzag stripes anyway! Red and blue zigzag stripes, okay.
So your assertion is that the balloon this child saw was not one belonging to you?
Si, exactamente! If he even saw a balloon in the first place, I do not like the sound of it! It is very bad for business! I have a good mind to sue the land of Bohemia! If you attack us, we will fight back! It will be war! All out war! What happened to all that war? Mr. Loon certainly doesn't appear to be lying, but that doesn't change the fact that the testimony and evidence are contradictory here. If the defense... Oh, sorry. If the defense is unable to find fault in the witness's statements, the court must consider them the truth. Think long and hard on that, my learned friend. The situation has clearly changed now. I have to get to the bottom of what happened here, no matter what it takes.
Counsel, you may now cross-examine the witnesses.
Cross-examination.
They said Battlestar was no liar.
Hold it!
You couldn't just have forgotten one, maybe?
Signor, I might not have.
His voice keeps changing. I'm sorry.
I might not have noticed if I was given 100 lentils and one was missing. But we are talking about 3 enormous balloons. Do you believe I can make a mistake about something so grand and expensive?
I took the liberty of having Inspector Gregson check this gentleman's warehouse. I have the report here. It clearly says a total of 3 balloons. Jesus.
It would appear no mistake has been made then.
Surely Mrs. Lestrade could have been sent for such a menial task.
What, me?
I'll tell you why I told the boss. He's saying kids like me can only count up to 2. Obviously that ain't true. The boss bought it and said he'd have to go himself in that case. All 3 of my balloons are carrying passengers. If they fell to the ground, an explosion, what a catastrophe.
Hold it!
That's right.
It would be quite a catastrophe if they fell to the ground for any reason, I think. On that note, Mr. Loon, tell me, what is it that keeps these balloons in the sky?
Are you an idiota?
Sorry? That is like asking why does a candle burn bright? It burns bright because it burns bright. And a balloon flies because it flies. What else? That must be Italian for I don't know. I'm not sure if that is Italian given all the CC and also I'm... hold on. I have to figure this out now. No, it is still C, so it is Italian. Okay. There are 2 types of flying balloons, hot air balloons and gas balloons. Hot air balloons work on the principle of hot air being less dense than cold air, whereas gas balloons derive their lift using a gas that is lighter than air. I'm so sorry. See, and my balloons are filled with the magic gas, I believe. Hydrogen, lighter than air but highly explosive.
Good lord! I do not permit smoking. I do not permit smoking of the cigarettes in any of my balloons. The magic gas does not like fire.
Even a small spark of static electricity could cause the entire balloon to explode.
What is the matter with you, senor?
All that comes out of your mouth is explosion, explosion! I tell you, my balloons are perfectly safe. They have to be, or I cannot eat. None of my balloons exploded that day. I am completely sure. But if you still say that is what happened, you must show me the proof. Alright, so Mr. Loon had 3 balloons in the air that day. Let me check the report record. So it's completely that on that side. This is green. Come on, is there something new? Is it something new? No, there's already been, alright. We're not gonna go with this, are we? The fact that there's only 2 balloons in this picture. If none of them were damaged, then what was the one that exploded? But you can't get away from the fact that a burnt-out bit of cloth was found at the scene, can you?
Hold it!
I was surprised to find the piece of fabric still at the scene, actually. Didn't you search the area surrounding the stage for clues? Nah, I'm not into picking stuff up off the ground, me. Always works out better dive into people's pockets instead. So much for the new career path. Mind you, the boss was on his hands and knees picking up all kinds of rubbish from the floor. Thing is, though, the kid went crashing into the Crystal Tower, didn't it? So that's where most of the investigating was going on. Even so, I would have thought someone from Scotland Yard would have gathered it up as evidence. Cole, listen to you! You stumbled across a bit of balloon and suddenly you're the best investigator in the world. Pardon? But you ain't got a badge, have you? Like this one! I could arrest you with this if I wanted to. I would like to present this, please. Present, objection! I wouldn't put it past her. Come to think of it, there was talk of some squashing on the ground at a meeting we had about the investigation. The couples of the yard reckoned it was probably some debris thrown from the explosion on the stage.
Hold it!
There was considerable damage to the stage and the surrounding area, wasn't there? Yeah, some of the couples while were watching the experiment were caught in the blast and injured. Good job, the old contraption didn't keel over, eh? I hadn't even considered that. It seems there was a great panic after the incident occurred. Nevertheless, the police shouldn't have missed a torn piece of envelope from a balloon. Inspector Grazing can expect repercussions. Might be sweeping all his fish and chips, eh? The man's sole pleasure. None of this matters. The scrap of balloon envelope means nothing. Niente! This stupid old ragazzo is mistaken. My balloons have the blue and have the red and blue zigzag stripes anyway.
Hold it!
You mean the color is wrong? Si, signor. I do not have any green balloons in my warehouse. And yet a piece of green cloth was found at the scene, and it is unmistakably from a balloon. Well, I do not know how that can be. For the sake of argument, let's say that a green balloon did explode above the stage. You couldn't therefore conclude that it happened on the day in question. You couldn't therefore conclude... What? Why not? There have been recreational balloon flights over Hyde Park operating from before the Great Exhibition. One could have exploded on some earlier date. Unfortunate, as I'm sure you'd agree. But wouldn't they have cleared out the area? Wouldn't they have cleaned up the area for the Great Exhibition? You believe it may have been from some earlier balloon accident that predates the exhibition? Si, exactamente. As the signor says, it is not from one of my balloons. Clearly, this is the ragazzo from Bohemia is mistaken about what he saw. Oh, he's mad. He's mad.
Excuse me.
Is something wrong, Master Guts? It's Master William. I'm not saying that. It was on the tip of my tongue. Ja, something is very wrong. I know what I saw. There was a green balloon there. I swear it. I swear all over Bohemia. I can speak as much bad language as you can speak as much bad language as you like, but it changes nothing. If you do not have evidence, ragazzo, then I must tell your parents to punish you, eh? Perhaps we'll let the judge decide when it comes to punishments.
Evidence? What is this evidence?
To give a simple example, young man. A photograph, for instance. Some tangible proof of what you claim.
Well, why didn't you say so sooner? I have the photograph here.
Okay, sure.
What? I had not been up in a balloon for a little while, so I was very excited. I took lots and lots of photographs of the Crystal Tower, of the Bohemian exhibit, of the streets of London, of the hotel cellar, the balloon. The instantaneous kinesis experiment? Did you take a picture of that? Ja, one picture? Really? Did you take one? But all I wanted was a ride in a balloon. I was not interested in the boring experiments. Never mind that. Can you show us the photograph? Of course. And then you will see. You will see that I am not lying. That I really did see a green balloon.
Well, it's too far. It's too low to really. It's black and white. It's too far low to really tell. But theoretically, you could still see the zigzag.
Well, I see you are all too shocked to speak.
Yes, I think shocked is indeed the word, young man.
Yeah, perhaps you cannot see that was a green balloon from this photograph, but...
Yeah, I'm looking at the replay on YouTube now, and it's, for the most part, black and white. But
that is not my fault! That is the fault of the stupid person who makes a camera! Wah! Wah!
That is one very bohemian sounding cry.
Wah! Wah!
Very well, the court will accept this photograph as evidence. A photograph taken by Gotts whilst he was riding in a balloon. It shows another balloon that he claims was green and exploded moments after he was shot. It's not my fault. It is the fault of the person who made the camera. Well, never mind. I'm sure you have plenty of wonderful CPM memories to take home with you. In any case, when exactly did you take that photograph? Well, it was on the day of the big explosion. You don't say. When I pressed the shutter release, there was this very loud bang, and a hot wind rushed over my face. That means this photograph was taken a split second before the explosion occurred. Well, if you ask me, this black and white photograph changes nothing. I could not give the flying fig. Lovely language you've picked up. As I thought, Mr. Loon's testimony just doesn't quite add up. The young Bohemian boy claims to have seen another, fourth balloon, but Mr. Loon vehemently denies the possibility, and it's hard to imagine the man in charge could be mistaken about the number that were in the air. Still, this inconsistency must tell us something, I'm sure. Let me take another look at this photo. Something shot up from the crowd. Because it definitely wasn't on the stage. Let me go looking around. I'm very sorry. Yeah, every time I mute the mic and say I'm making disgusting sinus noises, that's what those are the sounds I make. I'm going to save here. And I think I need to present this photo to that statement. Because it's clearly coming from the crowd.
Objection!
Nope, I'm wrong. Okay, it's loading. For a second I thought I was saving. Okay, I'm gonna try that again. 1 second. Okay, I just realized something. I know the mic was muted for that. I just realized something. Hold on. There's no one in the balloon.
No one's in the balloon! Unfortunately, the photograph Mr. Gotts took can't tell us the color of the balloon. But it can tell us something else, something crucially important. What? It shows that the pictured balloon wasn't carrying any passengers. Oh, my goodness, you're right! But surely all the balloons would have been carrying passengers. There would be no sense in it otherwise. See! They are for pleasure, for seeing the view. My balloons only fly with passengers. Which tells us that the pictured balloon isn't one of them. So when the incident occurred that day, there was a fourth balloon in the skies above the experimentation stage. The mysterious green balloon.
I know nothing, Niente! I can only tell you one thing. If this balloon was not carrying passengers, then it was not one of mine.
He is very upset. There are illegal tradesmen everywhere you care to look. Clearly, one such entrepreneur decided to capitalize on the opportunity presented by the Great Exhibition, and managed to operate balloon flights on Mr. Lulu's patch without him realizing. See! The Composition is trying to steal my profits! I did not notice because of the experimental that went wrong on the stage. Except where's the profit in setting up a balloon with no one in it? This fourth balloon exploded at the very same moment Mr. Asman was beamed from the stage below. Right, so then scraps that fell to the ground after and left the scorch marks. They didn't come from the stage at all. It was bits of the balloon raining down. But because no one was in it, it didn't get no attention. The mysterious fourth balloon carrying no passengers, silently floating over the experimentation stage.
Objection!
This photograph shows us nothing more. A stray balloon carrying no one and operated by some rogue trader. Clearly, it has nothing to do with the case. Okay, I'm taking a drink. This is the amount of coughing is stupid. Its relevance does elude me, I must say. The court has seen sufficient evidence and heard ample testimony already. The prosecution calls for this trial to be concluded. No one's paying attention. Really? Have we really got to the truth yet? No, I can't let this opportunity slip away. The jurors' minds are made up, and not in our favor. What else can this photograph tell us? Is there nothing more we can learn from it? There's more!
Objection!
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, wait! Please don't give your decisions yet. The photograph of Mr. Gotts may well be hiding one more vital clue. What's that? A vital clue?
Objection!
We're well past the point of mere possibilities. It's time for definitives now, so tell the court. What exactly does this alleged clue in the photograph prove? The balloon's owner, the balloon's color, the cause of the explosion. We can reasonably assume that the picture balloon was destroyed in the searing heat of the explosion.
Ja, that's right! Ja, it was not my fault!
Evidently. Because the birdcage from the kinesis machine materialized in the sky where it had been flying. And the balloon, being filled with flammable hydrogen, instantly and explosively ignited.
Objection!
No, that's not what happened. What? It would appear that this photograph requires closer examination. Counsel for the defense, you will highlight the location of this alleged clue in the photograph for the court. Of course, my lord. If you look closely, it's plain enough to see. And what's shown is linked to another piece of evidence we have. In a way, that leads to an unbelievable conclusion. The clue that heavily suggests the real person of the balloon exploded is right here.
Take that!
The timing of this photograph can only be described as miraculous. If you look, you'll notice there's a bright white line that appears to point directly at the balloon.
Most likely a ray of light caught incidentally on the film.
Oh. I'm afraid I see nothing of the sort. If you look with a magnifying glass, my lord, it becomes clear what the nature of this bright light really means. Goodness, what is that? Undeniably some flash of light, yes.
Oh golly, do you think it might be lightning?
But it couldn't have been a finer day.
I believe we may be looking at fire.
A bolt of fire heading straight for the balloon? Like an arrow? Indeed, even to my aging eyes, it would appear to be a flame of some sort. My word, are you suggesting that this flame struck the hydrogen gas that filled the balloon?
Objection!
That's absurd. The balloon would have been 60 feet above the ground at the time. No flame could possibly have reached such a height.
Objection!
Actually, it's my opinion that a particular piece of evidence found at the scene reveals how that is exactly what did happen.
What evidence?
If such evidence exists, Counsel, then for goodness sake, present it, man! Which evidence explains this mysterious streak of flame that appears to be headed directly for the balloon? The crossbow.
Take that!
This was found hidden at the foot of a small ornamental tree near the scene. Good lord! Is that a crossbow? An arrow dipped in oil and set alight could have been shot from this weapon, sending a flaming arrow straight into the hydrogen-filled balloon.
Are you suggesting that crossbow was used deliberately?
Blimey, you're right! That streak of light in the photo looks just like an arrow, doesn't it?
Then the explosion of the balloon, it was
very likely the result of a flaming arrow from this crossbow igniting the hydrogen gas inside.
no!
Order! Order! Counsel, this is extraordinary supposition. If the aim was to cause the balloon to ignite, the shooter could have used a gun, of course. However, there's an obvious reason why that would have been out of the question.
The noise of the discharge, of course.
That's right. By using a crossbow, the projectile could be fired at the balloon silently. Well, yeah, if someone had shot a gun in the exhibition grounds, it would have caused a real panic.
But with the big explosion, there was a very big panic anyway, no?
I don't like this. I should be pleased to have found a plausible new explanation for all this, but something feels wrong.
Objection!
Do you understand the implications of what you're saying, my Nipponese friend?
If a flaming arrow did indeed hit the balloon, then obviously it would have exploded. And if the birdcage appeared from the cloud of smoke that ensued... What? Wait a minute! What are you really saying here? I don't get it. Was the birdcage beamed up into the sky after all? Or what? My goodness me! Now I understand. That's what that sinking feeling is all about. I think there's a good chance that the birdcage was actually concealed inside the balloon all along. What? Did I just hear that correctly, Counsel? There's no going back now. The horse has bolted. Let's assume, as I said, that the birdcage was hidden inside the green balloon from the start. On stage, when the experiment was started, the birdcage and the instantaneous kinesis machine disappeared in a cloud of smoke. At that moment, the flaming arrow was fired from the ground, causing the green balloon to explode and drawing the attention of the spectators to the sky above their heads. From amid the smoke, the hidden birdcage then appeared to fall down and crash into the crystal tower. I think you'll all agree it's entirely plausible that what I've just described is the real truth behind this behind the miraculous experiment carried out that day. Good grief!
Objection!
This is ludicrous! What you've described is no science experiment! It's child's play! A contemptible display of stage magic!
Both Mr. Shulman and Iris said that the explosion was a scientific impossibility, in which case, this is the only way to explain what happened that day.
And in any case, the victim's body was found inside the birdcage in the Crystal Tower! If the instantaneous kinesis didn't take place, how do you explain that?
If I may put in a word, as a man of magic myself, such apparent discrepancies can easily be explained by some simple deception. Juror number 3? All that would be needed is a doppelganger, someone who looks very similar to the victim, Mr. Asman. And having this other man appear on the stage to front the show as a body double. Ah, yes, of course. So in fact, Mr. Asman must have been inside the birdcage that was concealed inside the balloon right from the start.
Objection!
That balloon would have been filled with hydrogen. Anything hidden inside would have been scattered to the four winds when it exploded. No one would have embarked on such a risky venture.
Not necessarily. The explosive force of the balloon gas would very much depend on the mixture ratio.
I'm very sorry about the way that line was delivered.
Juror number 4? Flying balloons are rarely filled with pure hydrogen, but a mixture of other gases such as helium as well. Helium on its own doesn't explode, but by controlling the gas mixture ratio, the explosive force can be altered.
The mixture ratio?
Obviously, the victim's body would have suffered some burns. That would be unavoidable. But not to such an extent as to render this whole obscene charade impossible. But there were no burns reported in the autopsy report. So everything that happened can be explained, logically and scientifically. The explosion that engulfed the stage at the start of the experiment was no accident. It was all part of an elaborate deception, to make it appear that instantaneous kinesis had occurred. Well, goodness me! And if we accept this as what happened, it means that the victim, Mr. Asman, was never present on the among the experimentation stage to begin with. In short, he couldn't have been killed by the defendant, who was on stage in full view the entire time. Arrgh! This will be very hard for the prosecution to counter. Lord Van Zieks can't credibly maintain that Professor Harebrain is a suspect now. Except now Harebrain's like, no, my hypothesis! Mr. Naruhodo, I appreciate your efforts. Thank you. Professor? But you can stop now. Just keep your mouth shut, please. Sorry?
What's all this about, Mr. Harebrain?
I, Albert Harebrain, hereby confess that it was me who stabbed Mr. Odie Asman, all to protect his stupid fucking hypothesis. Yes, it was me, with my faithful friend and partner, Andrew the Screwdriver. What are you doing? Order! 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 Defendant, explain the sudden confession.
Objection!
Professor Harebrain, what are you talking about? It's what I said all along. I must protect my hypothesis and my precious machine. You stand there and claim it was all a trick, an elaborate prank, but where's your proof? No, you'd have to examine the machine if you want to prove it, but then it would all be over. A beautiful hypothesis to be laid bare. I mean, the indignity of it! It's clear that you drew the plans for the experiment, but you didn't actually build it. It's quite conceivable that you were duped, Professor, if you'll just let me... Barrack!
I'll cooperate. I'll do whatever you say. I swear it. So please, ensure this special dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act is adhered to and protect my creation! Pray, forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice at this critical juncture. Here's to my learned Nipponese friend. What? And his upcoming attempt to clarify the defense's position in the light of the accused's confession. Do you intend to formally assert that the experiment was nothing more than a conjuring trick? Because the moment you do, the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act that protects the professor's invention will cease to apply. The prosecution will then demand a rigorous examination of the machinery involved in order to establish the truth. However, if you acknowledge the machine is genuine and instrumental in the victim's murder, any chance of investigating will be crushed, and the confidentiality of the professor's hypothesis preserved.
1 second. Well, counsel, what is the defense's official position on this matter? I'm gonna have to... Oh, boy. Well, Professor Harebrain, my client, actually asked of me was to prove that the explosion on stage was an accident and protect the secrecy of his hypothesis. But there's no way to do that without implying the professor's guilt. Do I protect my client's life by asserting his innocence, or do I uphold my client's request but see him condemned? Either way, I can't avoid betraying his trust.
You've been silent long enough! Isn't talking your trade, my learned friend? Or has all knowledge of English escaped your confused Nipponese mind?
Yeah, this is the dilemma.
Mr. Naruhodo!
There's no escape here. I have to make a choice. And the game's gonna make me make the choice. But it's an impossible one. I have to give up something, but what? The defense asserts that the defendant's instantaneous kinesis machine was in fact... Yeah... But I'm saving. So it seems that at some point in these trials, the defense stops really caring about protecting their client and more about proving the truth. And that's what I'm going to go for. I'm sorry. I don't care about protecting his hypothesis. The truth needs to be revealed. Unless the game says otherwise.
Act! No, I can't say it. My client places faith in me. I just can't let him down. What must I give up on is not the question you have to ask yourself here. It's what can I protect? Susanoo? Hello again, Mr. Naruhodo. It's been far too long. Susanoo-san! But what are you... Oh, she is Hypersore Eyes! Oh, I've missed her. Oh, look at her. She's beautiful. There'll be time for talk later, Mr. Naruhodo. For now, we must concentrate on the task at hand.
which is working out not what I have to give up, but on what I can protect. Professor Hairbrain! Ah, yes? Yesterday you told me that science is the pursuit of truth. Well, my job is to pursue the truth too. Yes, of course. 1 second. And personally, I believe that you didn't stab Mr. Asman. I think you've come to realize something yourself too, haven't you? That your experiment and the machine you built with the victim are questionable. The truth behind that is what we must both pursue now. Wag! So, you finally opened your eyes. What? And as for you, Albert, you can't ignore this any longer. Ah! Having heard my learned friend's assertion, don't you have something to say? Barrack! Just because the machine sucked doesn't mean that your idea is wrong. Okay? How many fucking airplanes did the Wright brothers have to build before they made one that actually worked? I don't know. I didn't do the research, but I'm pretty sure it was more than one. Gosh, I've never heard him speak that way before. In truth, there is one thing, something I've remembered that's of relevance. What? On the day it happened, just before I began the experiment, I saw a man near the stage. A man holding that crossbow. I beg your pardon? Professor! Did the man have any distinguishing features? What did he look like? Taller than me, and thinner than me. With straight hair, straighter and whiter than mine. Let me see. One less lens than me too. A monocle! And a rather stylish black monocle. But one thing in particular will help to positively identify the man you see. I know him very well. After all, he's the engineer who built my invention. What? He built the machine? That's right! Mr. Asman introduced me to him a year ago. He's a man by the name of Enoch Drebber. Enoch Drebber? Does his name mean something? Members of the jury seem flustered. Not a name any scientist wishes to hear. The man's an abomination. Not a name any conjurer wishes to hear either. Who on earth is he? I'm afraid this isn't the first tale of this nature that I've heard in scientific circles in connection with that name. There's talk of other flamboyant experiments that turn out to be nothing but stage trickery in the end. Obviously, the rascal is after the government's research grant money. When magicians are in need of money, I have heard of them resorting to these underhand tactics. Some acquaintances of mine with experience of such things have mentioned Enoch Drebber's name before. The man is both an engineer and a magician, yes. Yes, we're dealing with an unparalleled confidence trickster. That's Enoch Drebber for you! So he was misled the entire time. He was being tricked the entire time. Like I said, just because the first experiment failed doesn't mean the idea is wrong. So it's true then. My invention, my great machine, it was just a grand illusion? Considering what we just heard about Mr. Drebber's character, I'm sorry to say that sounds increasingly likely. Even though no one else believed it, I wanted to believe that machine would function exactly as my hypothesis predicted.
which is why you were so opposed to it being investigated, I presume. I knew that if the machine was examined in detail, its construction would give away my hypothesis. Obviously, I didn't want that to happen, but at the same time, I knew that if it was found to be nothing more than a trick, than a work of deception, then everything I'd worked towards, all my research, all my dreams, my whole life would be over. I was terrified at the prospect.
So you really had no idea then, did you? About the true nature of the machine that was built, and the true nature of Mr. Drebber.
I never questioned anything. I didn't want to question it.
It's entirely possible that Mr. Asman and Mr. Drebber were working together to use you as a means of fraudulently acquiring the research grant money.
When I announced my invention to the crowds that day, it was the finest moment of my career. I pulled all the levers and turned all the dials in exactly the way Drebber had described. When the smoke suddenly started billowing out, I panicked. I didn't know what was happening. But I really didn't know how the whole illusion was made to work. I don't know anything anymore. Let me confirm one final point with you, Professor. Do you now consent to the prosecution submitting the necessary paperwork to release your invention from the protection afforded by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act?
Saying that all in one breath is difficult. Yes, please go ahead. I'm very sorry. It would appear that we shall have to suspend proceedings for the remainder of the day now. Lord Van Zeeks.
My lord?
The court has newly been made aware of another party whose involvement in this matter is critical.
Yes, Mr. Drebber.
Gather information about the man. If possible, I should like him served with a subpoena.
With pleasure, my lord.
Now, counsel for the defense. Yes, my lord! When we reconvene, I shall be looking for one thing and one thing alone from you. Evidence that the defendant is innocent of the crime for which he presently stands accused. I understand. Good. In that case, this court is adjourned until tomorrow morning. (23rd of October, 1:36 p.m., the Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber.
Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes?
I'm so sorry! I was wrong! You were right! I tricked you! You trusted me! I dragged you into my mess! Oh, how did it ever come to this? I'm so sorry!
Did you really have no idea, Professor? About what Mr. Drebber was really up to, I mean? About what he was really constructing?
Naturally! That machine was the embodiment of my hypothesis, of all my hopes and dreams! I had complete faith in it!
Alright, in that case, I won't say any more. Now, sadly, the murder accusation against you still stands, so we must do as much investigation as we can before the trial resumes tomorrow.
Well, thank you for doing so much for me!
We have missed you.
I'm so sorry for arriving late this morning, Mr. Naruhodo. Arriving late? Didn't you receive my postcard? I wanted to let you know when I'd arrive.
Postcard? What postcard?
I hid it from you, Runo, so it would be a surprise! Well, did it work?
I was surprised, alright, especially when she threw me to the ground.
Oh dear, I'm so sorry. I was just so happy to see you again that it sort of slipped out.
Maybe we could stick to more traditional displays of emotion in the future.
Susie's train was late into London Victoria this morning, you see. But we made the coachman really whip the horses hard so she didn't miss the whole trial.
I was watching from the gallery for a while, but in the end, I'm afraid I couldn't contain myself. Well, I'm glad you didn't.
Oh?
Having you at my side in court gives me the strength I need to win. So, I'm, delighted to see you, back in London.
Oh, you're too kind, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm delighted to be here.
I hope I can continue to be of service to you. Of course. So, what's brought you back? Did Professor Mikotoba not protest?
Let's save all that conversation for when we're back at home, shall we? You know, I made one of my most special blends ever for this special occasion. Oh, Iris, how wonderful! I can't wait!
Susao-san was back in London. It's hard to describe how happy that made me feel at the time, but despite my elation, our tale was about to take yet another extraordinary turn. To be continued! Once again, and this time, I'm not flipping a coin, we're done for today. Alright, so, the next time we'll be playing Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve will be next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, assuming everything I do before these streams goes well and I don't run late because of anything. But in between now and then, on Saturday at 2 p.m., you can catch me playing Pokemon Crystal right here on this YouTube channel, where we will be heading to Goldenrod City and getting our 3rd gym badge. Alright, I will see you guys